Hello dear students, so let us start the question number 34. So the question number 34 is, a girl drops a ball from a height h equal to 20 meter, it strikes the ground elastically and returns to her hand. An echo of the third of the ball striking the ground is produced from nearby cliff. The echo is heard at exactly the same moment when the ball returns to the girl's hand. So we have to take the value of g, that is equal to 10 meter per second square, and speed of sound, that is equal to 350 meter per second. The distance of the cliff from the girl is close to. So we have to find the distance of the cliff from the girl. So here we have four options. Option 1 350 meter, option 2 350 root 2 meter, option 3 700 meter, and option 4 3500 meter. So here first of all, we have to calculate the time taken by the ball to reach the ground from the height 20 meter. So we know the equation, that is as equal to ut plus half at square. So we know this equation as equal to ut plus half at square. Now the girl is moving. Now the ball is moving down. So here taking the sign convention, so we can write as equal to minus 20 meter and a is equal to minus g, that is equal to minus 10 meter per second square. Since we know the acceleration due to gravity always acts downward, so here a is equal to minus g, that is equal to minus 10 meter per second square, and here the initial velocity, that is u, would be equal to 0. So let us calculate the value of t, putting the values in this equation, that is as equal to ut plus half at square. So if we put the values, so we have the value of s, that is equal to minus 20, we have the value of u, that is 0, so 0 multiplied by t plus 1 by 2, we have the value of a, that is equal to minus g, that is minus 10 multiplied by t square. So here we get minus 20, 0 into t, that is 0, and 1 by 2 multiplied by minus 10 multiplied by t square. So here this 10 gets cancelled out, so we get minus 20 is equal to minus 5 t square. So here we get the value of t square is equal to 20 by 5, that is equal to 4, or we can say t equal to, we get 2 second. So here the value of t comes out to be 2 second, that is the ball reaches the ground in 2 second. Now in the question he is saying an echo of the third of the ball striking the ground is produced from nearby cliff, and the echo is heard at exactly the same moment when the ball returns to the girl's hand. So now the time taken by the ball to reach the ground is 2 seconds. So obviously the time taken by the ball to reach again in girl's hand would be 2 seconds. So here the time is 2 seconds to reach the ground, and similarly the time taken by the ball to reach again in girl's hand would be 2 seconds. Now we have to find the distance of the cliff from the girl. So we know the formula, speed, it is equal to distance by time, or we can write distance is equal to speed into time. So we have given the velocity of, we have given the speed of sound, that is 350 meter per second, and the time will take is 2 seconds, since the sound is produced when the ball reaches the ground. So the ball reaches the ground in 2 seconds, so at that moment the sound is produced, and again it reaches in girl's hand in 2 seconds. So in this 2 second duration the echo is heard. So here the time we will take is 2 seconds. Now suppose this is the girl and this is the cliff, and let the distance between the girl and cliff be d. Okay. So in echo the distance traveled by the sound will be d plus d, that is 2d. So we can write 2d is equal to speed, that is 350 multiplied by time, that is 2 seconds. So here we get the value of d is equal to 350 meter. So the distance between the girl and the cliff would be approximately equal to 350 meter. So the correct answer for this question is option 1, that is 350 meter. So the distance of the cliff from from the girl is close to 350 meter. So let us see next question, that is question number 35. So four graphs between 1 by u and 1 by v are given for spherical mirrors. Which one of them suitably represents a convex mirror as per the new Cartesian sign convention? Okay, so here we have given four graphs in option 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we have to find the correct graph between 1 by v and 1 by u. So we know the mirror formula. So the mirror formula is 1 by f is equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. So this is the mirror formula, and we have to find the correct graph for a convex mirror using the Cartesian sign convention. So we know for convex mirror the focal length is positive, so 1 by f is positive, and 1 by v, so v is the image distance. So for convex mirror image distance is positive, so 1 by v is positive, and 1 by u, so u, that is the object distance, and object distance is negative, so 1 by u is negative. Now putting the sign in the mirror formula, so we get, so for convex mirror, so for convex mirror, and already we have seen the mirror formula, that is 1 by f equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. Now putting the sign, so we get plus 1 by f is equal to plus 1 by v plus, so we have the value of 1 by u, that is negative, so we can write 1 by f is equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. So we can write 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u, or we can write 1 by f plus 1 by u is equal to 1 by v. Okay. So 1 by f plus 1 by u equal to 1 by v. Rearranging this equation, we get 1 by v is equal to 1 by u plus 1 by f. So here f is the focal length for a convex mirror, and for a given convex mirror this is constant. So we know the equation for the straight line, that is y equal to mx plus c. So here the c, that is the intercept, so that is equal to 1 by f, and here the x, that is 1 by u, and m, that is the slope. So here you can see the slope is positive, so we can write m equal to plus 1, or we can say the slope is positive here. Okay, so here the slope is positive, intercept is positive. Now looking at this graph, so we can see graph 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so if you see at the graph 2, so here you can see first the graph is, the slope of the graph is positive first of all, and secondly, if I write this equation as 1 by v is equal to 1 by u plus c. Okay, so 1 by v equal to 1 by u plus c. So if I put, if 1 by u equal to 0, so we get 1 by v equal to c, or if I say 1 by v equal to 0, if 1 by v equal to 0, so we get 1 by u plus c equal to 0, or c equal to minus 1 by u. Okay, so if 1 by v u equal to 0, then 1 by v equal to c, that is equal to intercept, or if 1 by v equal to 0, then c, that is intercept, is equal to minus 1 by u. And as you can see, this condition is satisfied in graph second, since if we see 1 by u equal to 0, then c equal to 1 by v. So here you can see, if 1 by u equal to 0, then c, that will be equal to 1 by v. And second condition, if 1 by v equal to 0, then c equal to minus 1 by u. So if 1 by v equal to 0, then c would be equal to minus 1 by u. So this condition is satisfied in graph 2. So the correct answer for this question is option 2. So this is the correct graph between 1 by v and 1 by u for a convex mirror out of the given graph. So this is the correct answer for this, that is the option 2. Now next question, that is question number 36. An object is placed at point A in front of a convex lens of focal length f. Its real, inverted and magnified image is formed behind the lens. When the object is brought closer to the lens and placed at a point B, a virtual and erect image but with exactly the same magnification in magnitude as before is formed in front of the convex lens, let f be the focus of the lens in front of it. Which of the following relations is correct? Okay, so here we have given a convex lens and an object is placed at a point A, and in this case the image formed is real, inverted and magnified. In the second case, when the object is brought closer to the lens and placed at a point B, so a virtual and erect image is formed but with exactly the same magnification in magnitude. So we have to find which one of the following relations is correct. So we have four options here. Option 1, AF equal to FB. Option 2, AB equal to F. Option 3, AF minus BF equal to F, and option 4, AB equal to 2F. So let us first draw the diagram for this so we can easily find the relation. So here we have given a convex lens and suppose this is the point F in front of it. When the object is placed at position A, or you can say at point A, and real and inverted image is formed which is magnified, and when an object is placed at position B, or we can say at point B, and virtual image is formed. Okay, so suppose this is the x1 and suppose this is the x2. Okay, so this is x1, that is the distance of the object placed at point A, and x2, that is the distance, object distance when it is placed at point B. Now we know the formula for magnification, that is m equal to f by f plus u. So this is the formula for the magnification. Now in the first case, when the image formed is real and inverted. So case first, when the image is real and inverted. So let us see case first, when the image formed is real and inverted. So m equal to f by f plus, so u, that is the object distance. So here the object distance when an object is placed at point A is equal to x1, and we know for convex lens the object distance is negative. So we can write f by f plus minus x1, or we can write f by f minus x1, or you can say this is, let's say it m1. So and let's say this equation 1. So when an real and inverted image is formed, so we can write m1 equal to f by f minus x1. In the second case, when the object formed is virtual and erect. So in the second case, that is case second, when the image is virtual and erect. So in the second case, when the image formed is virtual and erect, so again applying this formula for magnification, that is m equal to f by f plus u. So we can write m2 is equal to f by f plus minus x2, since the virtual image is formed when an object is placed at position B. Okay, so for position B the object distance is x2. So we can write m2 is equal to f by f minus x2, and let's say this equation 2. So we got m1 equal to f by f minus x1 and m2 equal to f by f minus x2. Now according to question, we can write m1 is equal to minus m2, m1 is equal to minus m2, since in one case the image is real and inverted, and in the other case the image is virtual and erect. So we have the value for m1, that is f by f minus x1 is equal to minus, we have the value for m2, that is f by f minus x2. So this is the value. So or we can write f by f minus x1 is equal to minus f by f minus x2. So f got cancelled, and by cross multiplying we get f minus x2 is equal to minus f minus x1, or we can write f minus x2 minus is equal to minus f plus x1, or we can write 2f is equal to x1 plus x2. So 2f, that is equal to x1 plus x2. Now here we can write AF. So we can write AF equal to AF is equal to, we can write x1 minus f. Okay. So AF, that is the distance between A and F, we can write x1 minus f, small f, that is the focal length. And similarly we can write BF equal to, BF is equal to f minus x2. So small f, that is the focal length. So we can write BF equal to f minus x2. Now AF minus BF is equal to x1 minus f minus f minus x2. Okay, or AF minus BF is equal to x1 minus f minus f plus x2, or AF minus BF is equal to x1 plus x2 and minus f, that is minus 2f. But we know x1 plus x2 is equal to 2f. So putting the value, so AF minus BF is equal to 2f minus 2f. So it gets cancelled. So we get AF minus BF is equal to 0, or we can write AF is equal to BF. So the correct condition is AF is equal to BF. So the correct answer for this question is option 1, that is AF is equal to FB, or you can say BF. So the correct answer for this question is option 1. Now let us see next question. Question number 37. Netra, who is a backbencher, discovers one day in the class that she is unable to discern the details on the blackboard very well. When she visits an optician, he prescribes glasses for her. Which of the following statements are false? So we have given 4 statements here. Statement 1, she suffers from myopia where the far point is nearer than the blackboard. Statement 2, a concave lens with a suitable power can help correct her vision. Option 3, her eye is defective and is forming images in front of the retina. And option 4, a concave lens or a convex lens may be used to correct her vision. So here you can see the girl is unable to see the things written on blackboard. So statement 1, she suffers from myopia where the far point is nearer than the blackboard. So we know myopia, that is the nearsightedness, so in which a person is able to see nearby objects clearly but can't able to focus or can't see clearly the objects placed far apart. So myopia, that is the nearsightedness. So here the girl is unable to see the things written on the blackboard. So obviously she is suffering from the myopia. So statement 1, that is she suffers from myopia where the far point is nearer than the blackboard. So this statement is correct. Now talking about the statement 2, a concave lens with a suitable power can help correct her vision. So we know the corrective lens for myopia. So we know the corrective lens for myopia is concave lens. So here the statement 2 is also correct. Now talking about the statement 3, her eye is defective and is forming images in front of the retina. So we know in myopia the rays meet in front of the retina, or you can say the image is formed in front of the retina and not on the retina itself. So statement 3 is also correct. So statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Now let's see statement 4. A concave lens or a convex lens may be used to correct her vision. So no, just we have discussed for myopia the corrective lens is concave lens. Convex lens is used for hypermetropia. So we can't use both lenses for correcting the myopia. So obviously the statement 4, that is a concave lens or a convex lens may be used to correct her vision. So obviously the statement 4 is not correct, and here in the question he has asked which of the following statements are false, not true. Which statement is false? So obviously the statement 4 is false here. So the correct answer for this question is option 4, that is only 4, since only the 4th statement is false here and the remaining 3 statements, that is 1, 2 and 3 are correct here. So the false statement is statement 4. Now let us see next question, that is question number 38. Consider 3 registers of resistances R1, R2 and R3 such that R1 is less than R2 is less than R3. 2 of them are connected in parallel and then connected in series with the third. which one of the following configurations yields the highest current when connected to the same battery? So we have four options here. Option 1, R1 and R2 in parallel with R3 in series. R1 and R3 in parallel with R2 in series. Option 3, R2 and R3 in parallel with R1 in series. And option 4, it will depend on the precise values of R1, R2 and R3. So we know V by R equivalent is equal to I. Okay, so V by R equivalent is equal to I. Now we know that is, for I to be maximum, the R equivalent should be minimum if they are connected, if the configurations are connected with the same battery. So here we have to find which of the following configuration yields the highest current when connected to the same battery. So for I to be maximum, for I to be maximum, so for I to be maximum, R equivalent, that is equivalent resistance in the circuit, should be least, or you can say should be minimum. So for I to be maximum, R equivalent should be minimum. Okay. Now as we can see, we have given three resistors, R1, R2 and R3, and R1 is less than R2 is less than R3. Now we know when the resistors are connected in parallel, so we get the least resistance, or you can say when resistors are connected in parallel, then the equivalent resistance which comes out is smaller than the smallest resistance which is connected in parallel. So obviously here the value of R2 and R3 is greater than R1. R1 is having the least value and R3 is having the greatest value. So obviously we will connect R2 and R3 in parallel, and then the equivalent of R2 and R3 is connected with R1 in series. So obviously we will connect R2 and R3 in parallel, so we will get the least resistance and R1 in series with this combination. So here, since we want minimum equivalent resistance, so for minimum equivalent resistance, the resistors having greater value, that is R2 and R3, should be connected in parallel. So both are connected in parallel, and R1 in series with the above combination. Okay, so in this case we will get the minimum resistance. Okay, if you want, you can put some values of R1, R2 and R3. Let us take R1 equal to 2 ohm, R2 equal to 4 ohm and R3 equal to 6 ohm. So you can see in this combination, in this configuration, the R equivalent comes out to be minimum. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is option 3, that is R2 and R3 in parallel with R1 in series. Since in this configuration we will get the minimum resistance, and if we get the minimum resistance, then we will get the highest current. So here which configuration yields the highest current? So obviously the configuration 3, that is R2 and R3 in parallel with R1 in series, will yield the highest current. Now let us discuss next question. Question number 39. Figure shows three electrical appliances connected to a 220 volt AC mains. What is the amperage, that is current rating of the fuse that should be used in the circuit? So as you can see, here we have given a circuit diagram in which three appliances are connected, that is bulb, fan and heater, and it is connected to a 220 volt AC supply. Now we have to find the current rating of the fuse that should be used in this circuit. So here we have four options. Option 1, 1 ampere, option 2, 2 ampere, option 3, 5 ampere, and option 4, 10 ampere. So here all these three devices, that is bulb, fan and heater, are connected in parallel. As you can see in this circuit, all these three devices are connected in parallel. So let us first calculate the total power or equivalent power for these devices which are connected in parallel. So the formula for finding the equivalent power or total power when the devices are connected in parallel, that is P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus, so that is the sum of the individual powers of the devices. So here the power of the bulb is 110 watt, for fan it is 70 watt, and for heater it is 1200 watt. So P equivalent for this circuit comes out to be 110 plus 70 plus 1200, that is 1380 watt. So equivalent power, that is 1380 watt, and it is connected to a 220 volt AC supply. Now we know the formula, that is P equal to VI. So let us calculate the total current required. So I equal to, we can write P by V, or 1380 by 220. Okay, and whenever we solve it, we get that is approximately equal to 6.27 ampere. So the current comes out to be 6.27 ampere, that is 6.27 ampere current is required to run these devices properly. Now obviously the fuse rating that should be used in the circuit should be greater than 6.27. So here out of the given options 1, 2, 5 and 10. So the correct answer for this question is option 4, that is 10 ampere, since 6.27 ampere current is required by the devices so that it can function or it can run properly. So the current rating of the fuse should be greater than 6.27, that is 10 ampere. So the correct answer for this question is option 4, that is 10 ampere. Now let us see next question, that is last question 40. A positively charged plate and a negatively charged plate are kept parallel to each other at a distance of 10 centimeter. An electron is released near the negative plate. Looking from the negative plate towards the positive plate, the magnetic field produced by the moving electron will be. So we have 4 options here. Option 1 clockwise, option 2 anti-clockwise, option 3 positive to negative plate, and option 4 negative to positive plate. So here we have given 2 plates, one is positively charged and one is negatively charged, that are parallel to each other and are kept at a distance of 10 centimeter, and an electron is released near the negative plate. So looking from the negative plate towards the positive plate, that is the observer is at the negative plate, so the magnetic field produced by the moving electron will be. So for that observer, how this magnetic field produced will look like: clockwise, anti-clockwise, positive to negative plate, or negative to positive plate. So let us see. So here we have given 2 plates, one is negatively charged and one is positively charged. Okay, and the distance between plates is also given, that is 10 centimeter, and an electron is released from the negative plate. Now if I talk about the direction of current, or you can say conventional direction of current, so we take the direction of current opposite to the direction in which electron moves. So since the electron is moving towards positive plate, or you can say left to right, so the direction of current would be like this. So this is the direction of current, that is positive to negative. Now if we apply the rule, if we apply the right hand thumb rule, so we can see the magnetic field seems to be in anti-clockwise direction. So if an observer is at the negative plate, so for this observer the magnetic field produced will look like in anti-clockwise direction. So the correct answer for this question is option 2, that is anti-clockwise. So if an observer is at negative plate and if he looks at the magnetic field produced, so the magnetic field will look like or will appear to him in anti-clockwise direction. So the correct answer for this question is option 2, that is anti-clockwise. Thank you.